Hi and welcome to those of you who are new, and welcome back to those who have been here before. I'm Lena, a multi-award winning pet photographer and owner and creator of Pet Paparazzi. I've done a few tutorials now and they are all Photoshop based at the moment. I am hoping to branch out of that and do more like practical photography, how to pose the dog, how to composite your image, and things like that. But for now, I'm doing these because this is the easier stuff, believe it or not. Obviously on my client sessions I don't want to be recording myself and going through all of that when my focus is my clients, so that's why I haven't done it yet, but I will in time. But for now we are just going to stick with the Photoshop, which is actually where a lot of people I think struggle, because Photoshop can be very daunting and people tend to avoid it and use other options. I know there are other apps out there that you can use for editing, but I jumped straight into Lightroom and Photoshop. The bundle isn't actually that much, so I pay £9.98 per month for the Adobe photography bundle, so you get Lightroom and Photoshop combined. So I've just used that for years now. But yeah, so we've covered a couple of basics already and I've obviously done a full edit. So what are we doing today? Let's find out, shall we? In today's tutorial we are going to talk about distractions, and of course I will do a recording of how you can remove them using different Photoshop tools. There are several tools that you can use, so I'll run through all of them with you. Certain tools work better for removing certain objects. For example, the larger objects like leads and collars or people or trees, I would recommend using the Lasso tool and using content aware fill or generative fill. If it's a smaller object such as bits of grass on the dog's fur or twigs sticking up and you don't want them, the spot healing tool will do the job. So it's knowing what tools to use at what point. So we'll cover that as well. Yeah, so what are distractions? Well, distractions can be people in the image that you don't want there or that aren't meant to be there. For example, if you go to a busy location and you cannot avoid people because you can't exactly go up to people and say, excuse me, I'm taking pictures, can you sod off? Because it's a bit rude. So unfortunately you have to work around the people and try and obviously position the dog where there is no people and there's people to the side so that you can easily get rid of those people, because if they're over your subject then I can't help you there. I'm not that much of a magician. So yeah, so people are a distraction. Bits of twigs sticking up in the forest floor could be over your dog. Could not be, it could just be sticking up in the image and it doesn't quite look right. If you've positioned your dog and you've accidentally got a tree in the background coming right up through the head, if you just remove that, because you don't want any objects going through heads or anything like that, unless it's like extremely blurred and you can't really see it once you've edited, that's fine. But if you can and you can clearly see it, just remove it. And I sometimes remove random trees as well. So if I've got my background and it's very seamless and blurry and nice, and then I've just got this random tree coming up, I'll just remove that too, because I don't feel like it fits with the photo. And also things people tend to miss, especially when you're photographing dogs, is they run in bushes. They come out covered in grass seeds, grass, twigs, just whatever else their fur tends to pick up. And I see it a lot with some photographers. They tend to leave these things on, remove them. So if you've got a dog and they've got bits of grass, bits of fluff, you need to go through with your spot healing tool and just make sure they're all tidy, they look all neat, especially when you're working with clients. You want their dog to look like perfect. Of course, there are situations that you can avoid. For example, if they run in a muddy puddle and they come out covered in mud, you're not spot healing that. You're just not. So yeah, you've got to work out when you need to use these tools. But with the distractions on the actual dog, like eye bogies, drill bubbles, bits of drill, slobber, nose fluff, just whatever, just get rid of it. Get rid of any distractions. We don't want them in there. You want your photo to be perfect. Anyway, that's enough chatting from me now. So if you're still watching, keep watching and the video will play now. So I have two separate images here. This one is fairly more simple and straightforward. There isn't really much to remove in this one. You can see that she's got a bit of, I think it's moss there. And then we can get rid of this, maybe a few of these little bits here, just to tidy it up a little bit more. And then I think that will be fine. And then we have this one here. So in this one, we've got a bin, which isn't too pleasing. We've got a sign, again, not too pleasing. Obviously the lead. Her owner's coat. Then if I zoom in, we're just going to ignore these little bits, but we can remove them. They are rain, as it was raining. If you look closely in the background, there are other raindrops. And then, of course, she has this bit of grass sticking out. She's got some, I don't know if you call that snot or whatever. And then some eye bogies and some fluff. So we will remove all that. So obviously in this image, there is a lot more to remove. So I think we'll start with the simple one first. So if I go back. So with this one, we won't need this lasso tool with the content aware fill or the generative fill. We will just be looking at the spot healing brush tool. You can also use the clone stamp tool. If I just quickly show you what this is. So with this one, when you click on it, it'll come up with a circle. If you hold your option key down and select an area similar to where you want what you want to remove, and then paint over, it will then sort of copy that area over to the other one. But you don't want it to look repetitive, because that's what the clone stamp can do. So if I go back, I tend to use the spot healing brush tool on content aware, or sometimes I use proximity match. So if we make the brush bigger and then we just paint over, and it's gone just like that. And if I zoom in, again, you can do it with these little branches. I think they're actually leaf stems. So you just paint over the areas that you want to be removed, and 9 times out of 10 it will work. Like that. So you keep going, you make sure you check all your images well, because you may miss something. If you zoom in as much as I have, you might find something else, like I just did here. And then if we go back to her, we're going to remove this. Typical spaniel. And we're just going to brush over any other areas. I think these are little bits of spit drops, so we're just going to remove those as well. I am very thorough when it comes to doing this because I like the dog to look tidy. Obviously they're there for a photo shoot, so when you take your child to a photo shoot you want them to look tidy. You don't want them having chocolate around their face and things like that and having eye bogies or snot bubbles or whatever. So I treat the dogs or cats or whatever animal the same. So I just go ahead and tidy them all up as much as I can. So that's that one. That one's done. If I take some pictures before and after, you can see there that there is minor changes, not too much changed, but it looks a lot tidier. So that's the first one. And the second one, we are going to use the Lasso tool. So again, there are two ways you can use the Lasso tool, or the Lasso tool. Lasso. Potato, patata. So you just want to draw around the area that you want to remove from your image, and it will create a selection. And then if we go to, I need to remember where it is. Edit. We go to edit, then we go to fill. Again, make sure it's on content aware, color adaptations ticked, 100% on mode normal. Press OK. And then if we deselect that, you can see it's got rid of the lead. There is a bit of an obvious line here. So what I will then do is use the spot healing tool and proximity match and just go ahead and brush over the line just so it blends together and it's not so obvious. So that's the lead gone. So we're going to go back to the Lasso tool and now we're going to remove the sign. If you want to remove several objects or distractions from your image, if you go ahead and draw around one distraction first, wobbly fingers. So there we've selected the sign. If you press, so again I'm on a MacBook, so if you press the shift key you can add to your selection. I only figured this out the other day, so you do learn new things every day. And then you can add to your other selections and you can get rid of more than one thing in your image rather than doing it separately and one by one. So they're all selected. So first we're going to do the content aware fill. Fill. Again, check everything's how it should be, press OK. And wait for it to do its thing. Sometimes this doesn't always work for me. So here, as you can see, it's sort of messed up that tree completely. The sign's gone, the sign's fine, and this tree's messed up. So sometimes when that happens, if we go back and we go back, I will use the generative fill. So when you've made your selection, you should have this box up here. You can move it around. So just press generative fill. You don't necessarily need to give it a prompt, and then just press generate. Once it's done, it usually takes a minute. It will come up with 3 different variations, so you can pick like your favorite variation from that selection. If you're not happy, you can regenerate and actually give feedback. There we go. So if I go through, this is the first one, that's the second one, and that's the third one. So you can literally pick your variation, but you can see that it's not messed up the trees, and it looks seamless. We go back. So I do admittedly use this a lot, especially with bigger items like that or people. It's flawless and there's no hiccups with it. So I do use this one a lot more, but with the smaller things like the lead, I will just use the content aware fill, and obviously the even smaller things like twigs, I will just use the spot healing brush. So if I just flatten this, we're just going to zoom in. Too far. Now we're going to get rid of all these bits and bobs. So again, go to your spot healing brush tool. You want content aware. Adjust the size of your brush to the size of whatever the object is you're removing, and then just paint over. Sometimes you need to refine it, so just go over those patches again. And there it's gone. I'm just going to get rid of these little white bits, which is probably drool or slobber. Get rid of the eye bogies. Get rid of the fluff. Get rid of these snot bubbles, whatever they're called. Whatever they're called. Well, I can't speak today. A little bit over here. I'm going to remove this. I think it's just coat shine because she's wet, but I'm going to remove it because it's actually annoying me. Sometimes I can be quite picky. So I'm just going to remove all that because it's not pleasing me at all. And then what I'm actually going to do, even though it is raining, I'm actually just going to remove these two really obvious raindrops, because again, they're also annoying me. But as you can see, I'm just going around and I'm just checking everywhere to make sure I haven't missed anything, or if I have missed something, I can just go over it. But yes, that's it. So there we have the before, and then we have the after. Removing distractions makes a big difference. So here, the background is, it's not like too busy, but you've got things going on that you don't want there, and it takes away from the nice photo you've created. You take them away, you just got trees, dog, job done. And then you can go ahead and edit. So make sure, just a quick point actually, when you're removing distractions, make sure you remove them first. So crop your image to the size you want it or the crop you want it, and then do your distraction removal before you go ahead and do your edits. So always do your removals first. Of course, as always, if you've watched this video and you found it really useful, please don't forget to like, leave a comment down below and subscribe. And if you're feeling extra generous and you don't want to miss out whenever I upload, hit the bell icon and you will be notified every time I do upload a new video. I am trying to keep up with the weekly uploads. I was trying to do it on every Tuesday, but sometimes life gets in the way. I have a son and I am a full-time pet photographer, so I have to obviously do other things too. But I am trying to do it each week, so it was usually on a Tuesday, but today it's on a Thursday. So it's either going to be on a Tuesday or a Thursday, so keep an eye out. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.